All right, we got a new camera today that we're going to be unboxing. Let me turn that on. What do we think? I don't know. Light on, light off, on, off. I don't know. What do you prefer? I'm going to leave it on for now. I've got this overhead light thing. Let me know in the comments down below, light on or light off. Anyway, back to the video that we're talking about today. We got a new camera. It's the Sony a6700. I realize this is a bit of a controversial camera. I know it's got some problems, but I decided to pick it up, and we're going to talk about why in just a minute. Okay, so first off, we're going to talk about what comes in the box. Got my second camera angle over here, so we can see it's actually a very simple box. It's a lot lighter than I was expecting, and so we'll go ahead and open it up. This just sort of came in the other day, and we got some documentation that I assume, if you're like me, nobody reads this stuff, so we're going to get rid of that. But yep, Sony a6700. In the box, it's pretty simple. I think probably like most modern Sony cameras, it's the only thing it's not going to come with is a charger. We got a strap, little sort of Sony strap. Again, one that I am not going to be using, but that's okay. We got a little, what is this, battery? Nice, at least it comes with a battery, so that's nice. Little Sony Z100 battery, which are great. This has pretty much been exclusive to the full frame cameras up until recently, so I'm really glad that these are now part of the APS-C family. And then lastly, we get the camera itself. So let's see what this is all about. All right. Oh, immediately that grip feels substantially better than the other APS-C cameras that I've used before. It feels very, very good. Much deeper, much better than I was expecting. I saw a lot of people talking about that the grip feels good, but that's pretty substantial. That feels a lot better than I thought. Oh, and we got a little envelope. What is this? Oh, okay. So it also comes with a little eye cover for the eyepiece. So that's kind of nice. We'll just go ahead and pop that on.
Several days later.
All right. So a few days has passed. Obviously, it's been busy. The studio is an absolute mess. I love this camera. I've had it now for almost a week. I think it's about 5 or 6 days. Really been enjoying it. Really enjoyed using it. So what we're going to do is, because the studio is kind of a mess, I'm not really prepared to move everything around and reset up another shot. We're going to take this out. We're going to go talk about why I purchased it, who I think it's for, why I think it's going to be perfect for what I need it for. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be perfect for what you need it for, and that's okay. So let's talk about all that stuff. Let's take the camera out. We're going to use it in a sort of vlogging set so you can see what it looks like. Let's go. So overall, like, again, I don't know how this is going to hold up. We're using the Rode Wireless Go here. It's pretty windy, but overall, so this camera, I think is a really interesting one, right? So it's got a couple of problems, such as overheating. That's going to be the main thing that people are aware of when it comes to this camera. And yes, overheating can be a problem, and yes, it's probably something you should be aware of. I have run into overheating once with this camera, and that was whenever I was actually filming in the studio. I had it sitting right under a light, which is probably not advised because it got a little toasty. And I didn't have the temperature safety setting to high, and I was recording a short for about 30 to 40 minutes, sort of like a time lapse type of thing. But I just did straight 4K recording. And yeah, it hit overheat. Since I set the heat threshold to high, never had it overheating. I did take it and I used it at a wedding, and that went pretty well. It was really fun to use. I loved using it. I used it primarily for B-roll. So for the long portions of like the ceremony and stuff, I used other cameras just because I couldn't risk the overheating being a factor. The other thing was it was very cold, so chances of it overheating were very low because, I mean, I never even got a warning or anything. But here's the thing about the overheating problem. So overheating is an issue if you're going to be recording long stretches of 60p or 120p. And that's just not something that I've been doing, right? I really don't understand anybody needing to record more than 20 minutes of 4K 120. Maybe you do. If you need that in a camera, let me know in the comments down below and tell me why. I'm not opposed to knowing why. I'd be interested to hear why. But for me, like, the main reason I purchased this camera is because what I was looking for in a camera was one that can give me super high quality 4K 24p footage. That's what I wanted. I mean, having 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second in 4K is great. It's really nice to have. I'm just not planning on using that very often. I just wanted really good 4K 24p for the lowest amount of money that I could get, and I thought this camera delivers that. Now, the other thing I was looking for was a hybrid camera. I wanted one that was going to be good for taking photos. That was the toss-up between this camera and the FX30. As much as I love the look of the FX30, and I think the FX30 is definitely going to be a better camera for video, obviously it doesn't have the AI features that this camera has, but I'm honestly not all that interested in those myself. I needed a camera that could take great photos, great videos, all for a pretty reasonable cost. So the decision was between like the FX30, fantastic video quality, and no overheating problems, and all the kind of stuff that I can get in this camera, or the same sort of sensor, the same quality video with photo opportunities, but in a camera that does offer great photography, with some overheating problems. And for me, the trade-off of the overheating was actually worth the photography that this camera provides. Now, there's a lot of great cameras out there. There are so many good cameras for so many different purposes, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. For example, like some of my absolute favorite cameras, the best image quality I think you can get is from Blackmagic. I think Blackmagic cinema cameras, the Ursa 12K is like just one of the best cameras I've ever used in my life, and the 6K Pro is phenomenal. Fantastic cameras, but they don't really have the feature set for what I need for YouTube videos. Now, this kind of brings me to my main point for this video. And that's whenever you're purchasing a camera, whenever you're looking across all of the multitudes of cameras that you can choose from all the different brands, there's not necessarily any bad cameras out there, but there might be bad cameras for what you need. So whenever you're looking at purchasing a camera, you have to kind of ask yourself one major question, and that is, what am I going to be using it for? For example, if you're wanting to film commercials and you're wanting to do or take photos that are going to go on billboards, you're going to need a different camera than you might want for doing vlogs or for doing weddings, all that kind of stuff. For example, the Blackmagic cameras that I love so much don't have any auto features. They don't have autofocus, they don't have auto anything really. That's the whole point, is they're super manual. You dial everything in and you get a pristine and fantastic image. And those are great. I love them bits, and I swear by those cameras. But for me, what I was looking for was a camera that was going to be ideal for this channel. Ideal for me to be able to capture the best image possible with all of the auto features that I can get for the lowest amount of money. And that's where this camera came in. Because you see, the best camera in the world might not actually be the best camera for what you need. So for example, for me, what I needed was fantastic 4K video at a really good price with great autofocus that can take great photos for things like thumbnails or for other, photography reviews that I might want to do with this camera. And something like a Blackmagic Ursa 12K, which granted is a much better camera by all accounts, just wouldn't serve that purpose well. So, is there a chance that this camera can overheat and cause problems for video production? Yes, absolutely. Will you face that with other cameras? Yeah, quite possibly. But to me, whenever buying a new camera, there are three main things that you need to ask. And the most important one is, what is it you need and what camera fits those needs? Secondly, you have to think about price. One of the really attractive things about this camera is the quality of the video and photo that you can get for the money. It is one of the cheapest cameras that I've seen that provides as much as it does. And lastly is ease of use. Now, ease of use kind of comes into what we're talking about with the first one. What do you need? So for certain scenarios, if you're filming music videos or commercials or stuff like that, ease of use doesn't necessarily come into it. You might be working with big crews and with lots of rigging and all that kind of stuff, and it's more about your professionalism and how you can actually manage the camera. But in many other times, for example, YouTube, or whenever you first get started, right, you're trying to learn photography, learn videography, which most of my viewers seem to be at. That's kind of the stage that a lot of my viewers seem to be at, is just getting started. You do have to ask yourself, okay, I want to be able to learn how to use a camera really well, and I want to be able to get the best quality possible. And a camera like this, in my opinion, is a fantastic place to upgrade to from something like a Sony a6700, which again, still in my opinion, is one of the best places to start with in photography or videography as far as Sony cameras go. I don't really know much about other brands, so sorry about that, but I think that's a great place to start. And if you're wanting to upgrade and get something a little better, or maybe have an A cam and use the ZV-E10 as a B cam, I think the a6700 is fantastic. The only caveat is the overheating. That's the only problem that seems to be a thing with this camera. So to me, I think this is just going to be the perfect camera for what I need. And that's ultimately all you can really ask for. For the money, I think it's going to be the best thing for this channel to be able to capture great video, great photos for a decent amount of money. And if you want to know more about this camera or Sony ZV-E10 or getting great quality video with great accessories for great cameras, hit the like button, drop a comment down below and subscribe as we continue to build this channel. I appreciate all of you for doing so, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.